Hello tennis fans. In this video we take a look at how the bad boy of tennis, Nick Krygios, silenced his critics to reach the 2022 Wimbledon final. His life and tennis career has been full of ups and downs. Despite losing to Novak in the final, it looks like the Australian is back on the rise. He showed glimpses of brilliance during his match with the Serb, and I think we will see a lot more of him going forward. After personal battles with alcohol, drugs and suicide, the sports bad boy ended up playing in his first ever Grand Slam final. The first of many, I hope. I want to be remembered as someone who just did it their way. He once said, "Never conform to these rules that society or the tennis world wants you to fit in." Maverick, individualist, free spirit, unorthodox. All these labels that can be placed around his neck. And for a long time, they were remarks used in the derogatory sense. A supreme talent wasting his gift. Why is he not training more? Why is he not playing more? Why has he never made it past a Grand Slam quarterfinal? Why does he insist on all the melodramatic behavior designed to attract attention? Why doesn't he love the sport like many less talented players on tour? Why? For many, least of all Kyrgios himself, reaching a Wimbledon final, where he will take on 20-time Grand Slam champion Novak Djokovic on center court, was a day they never thought would come. It was only 3 years ago at the Australian Open when the noise, scrutiny, pressure, and anxiety penetrated Nick's mind and pushed him to the brink of suicide. He said the following: "Most would assume I was doing okay mentally or enjoying my life, but it was one of my darkest periods. If you look closely, on my right arm you can see my self-harm. I was having suicidal thoughts and was literally struggling to get out of bed, let alone play in front of millions. I was lonely, depressed, negative, abusing alcohol, drugs, pushed away family and friends. I felt as if I couldn't talk or trust anyone. This was a result of not opening up and refusing to lean on my loved ones and simply just push myself little by little to be positive." Kyrgios, for all his faults, is a dedicated family man and often reduces his time spent on the tennis tour to be close to Dad George and Mum Nil. But 3 years ago he was spent, exhausted, out of ideas and out of energy. "I'm proud to say I've completely turned myself around," he added, "and have a completely different outlook on everything. I don't take one moment for granted. I want you to be able to reach your full potential and smile. This life is beautiful." His life, from his upbringing in Canberra to living in a $1.6 million penthouse in Kensington, Sydney, with influencer girlfriend Christine Hatsey, has been in stark contrast to the privilege bestowed on many who run the show on the ATP Tour. Kyrgios was born in Canberra on April 27, 1995, as the third child to a Greek father, a self-employed house painter that moved to Australia as a teenager, and Malaysian mother, affectionately known as Nil. His father, who goes by the name George, isn't ever present in his son's box throughout the tennis season, but his mother, due to a cocktail of anxiety and ill health, has stayed away from Nick's matches for years now. His mother was born into the Selangor royal family in Malaysia, a qualifying royal through the cousin of her grandfather, the Sultan of Pahang. That made Nil the Tengku of Pahang, which is closely translated to make her the princess of the Pahang state. It was not until moving to Australia in her 20s, where she went on to become a computer engineer before raising 3 children, did she drop her royal title. The couple settled and married in 1988, going on to have son Christos, daughter Halila, and lastly, tennis supremo Nick. Family is central to who Nick is as a person, even when he is seen barking at them for not celebrating or supporting him as he wants them to. Take September 2021, when he chose to pull out of every tournament remaining in that year to spend time at home with his mother. She was ill, facing severe problems with her kidneys, and having been left scarred by the death of his grandmother, Juliana Foster, in 2014. Kyrgios, to some controversially so, has tennis far down his list of priorities. The week she passed away, "I was supposed to go see her with Mum, but I was pretty busy," he said. "I just didn't get to see her as much as I would have liked in the end. But I'm sure I could have just got a day off to see her. That's what will live with me." So, as his mother battles her own health complications, she is hopeful of securing a kidney transplant from husband George if they are a match. Nick often chooses to spend as much time as possible with family to ensure the regrets he holds towards his grandmother are not repeated. "I haven't watched him play for a while, actually," Nil said when asked why she struggles to watch her son play. "I can't expose myself to that anxiety. I go into a really strange panic. It actually got to a stage where I sought help. I was seeing a doctor for 6 months. I was not in a good place. My anxiety level watching Nick was so high." Kyrgios has always had a particularly close relationship with his siblings, a portrayal that is far from the evil that beaten third-round opponent Stefanos Tsitsipas spoke up about last week. It was after another win at Wimbledon in the last fortnight when Nick, back in his hotel room with girlfriend Hatsi, were on FaceTime to his older brother Kyrgios following the birth of his first child, son Georgios Kyrgios. Kyrgios, and three-time world champion fitness model partner Alicia Gowans, have wanted to start a family for years, and now Kyrgios could couple becoming an uncle with becoming a Grand Slam champion in a matter of hours. Kyrgios is a sports coach that has also been tasked with being the part-time CEO of NK Foundation, the tennis star's foundation. Along his sister Halima, 33, rose to prominence on The Voice Australia, and it was Halima who reflected on a side of Nick that, until he went public with his struggles with self-harm and suicidal thoughts, many rarely get to see. Life is too short, she said. Sometimes he suffers a lot of anxiety from the pressure. It's a really tough industry, and you're basically hotel hopping for a whole year. You have to be tough on the tennis tour. Kyrgios, win or lose, divides opinion at home and away. The Aussie, who was out of shape as a child in his early years studying at Radford College, saw his picture temporarily removed from the school's Hall of Fame due to his on-court antics back in 2015. Even his own high school briefly put some distance to their greatest sporting talent. Nick was said to be popular at school, a teller of jokes and a fun-spirited personality. It was basketball that stole his heart first, not tennis, and were it not for the intervention of Dad George and Mum Nil, he may never have found his path to Grand Slam supremacy at Wimbledon. I should have listened to my parents as a child, he previously said. I wish I'd done that. When I was 14, they said I couldn't play basketball anymore. It still hurts my heart. It was very hard for me to leave it to concentrate on tennis. I love basketball. It quickly proved an investment well made when Kyrgios raced to become world #1 in the juniors. Nick, a lover of team sports, has always been fond of doubles and quickly tasted success when, along with Andrew Harris, he won the French Open boys doubles in 2012. Weeks later, that was followed by the Wimbledon boys doubles. A year later, he won the Australian Open boys singles title and defended his Wimbledon boys doubles title with childhood friend Thanasi Kokkinakis. Kyrgios, who worked tirelessly to get in shape and become a consummate athlete, knew early that he had the tools to become a star. In 2014, at the age of 19, he stunned Rafa in the last 16 of Wimbledon to reach his first Grand Slam quarterfinal. He had put the tennis world on notice. Typically, tennis players spend hours upon hours out on court, perfecting forehands, backhands, and their serve in a bid to close the gap to the world #1. But for Nick, that is just something he is not willing to do. It's a routine that doesn't work for him, as it does for Rafa or Novak. Basketball, he claims, is his meditation space. A die-hard fan of NBA franchise, Boston Celtics, Nick has worked his new look routine around the basketball, rather than tennis court, and it is paying off handsomely at Wimbledon. His second home has become the KGV Recreation Center in the Rocks, Sydney, since he swapped Canberra for the Harbour City. And users of the gym point to how it is often the tennis player, with more than 2.4 million Instagram followers, that is the one instigating pickup games and scrimmages via WhatsApp. Aspiring basketballer Anthony Munden III, former U.S. college star Chala Dup, Sydney Kings guard Bawali Bales, and fellow tennis star Kokkinakis, who is a doubles champion along with childhood friend Nick, are among those he plays with on a regular basis. Nick's routine: think 2 hours of basketball, an hour of tennis, and some gym work. It is a formula that, while unorthodox, is working for the big serving Aussie. And if Nick has shown anything, it is that reps on a tennis court, for a player that boasts his ability, is not the be-all and end-all. Take his now departed semi-final opponent Rafa. The Spaniard has played 33 singles matches this year prior to arriving at Wimbledon, and he has yet to lose at a Grand Slam. Then look at Kyrgios, who arrived at Wimbledon having played just 13 singles matches. As Rafa's body wilted, Nick looks to be in the form and fitness of his career. So, back to the basketball. It was a topic that came up after he was labeled evil and a bully by defeated third-round opponent Tsitsipas. It had been a nil-tempered match that was the contest of the tournament so far. Tsitsipas despises Kyrgios, and his comments showed. What they told Nick was that the Greek player is not close to the competitor he is used to facing on the parquet floor of the rec center. When I'm back home and you see me every day and who I'm competing with on the basketball court, these guys are dogs, he said. He's just soft. To come in here and say I bullied him, that's just soft. He said, talking about Tsitsipas. We're not cut from the same cloth. I go up against guys who are true competitors. Right now at SW19, all eyes are on Nick, both for his antics on and off the court. He is the biggest headliner, even compared to fellow finalist Novak. On that court in the KGV Recreation Center though, he's just Nick, the guy who loves to play basketball and the guy who dotes on his parents and his siblings. Just Nick. When I first saw him, I thought, this bloke can't be serious. He's a tennis player, not a basketball player, a Duck told the Sydney Morning Herald. But he's actually pretty good at basketball. Me and Nick, we fight all the time. What Nick is seeing from other people at Wimbledon is nothing compared to KGV. If people see what we do on campus, they would be shocked. Nick is not the bully, I'm the bully. When Nick's around us, the amount of stuff we say to him, well, we go hard at him. Some people might want to be cool with Nick and not go at him because he's famous. But for us it's different. We trash talk him. We don't sit back because he's the big dog. When he's there, he's not the big dog because we go at each other. None of us care that he's Nick Krygios. We know who he is. But on the court, to me, everyone is the same. Just when Kyrgios appears human and relatable, a guy who loves basketball and wants to improve to emulate his heroes such as Celtics forward Jason Tatum. He openly reveals he has thrown matches in the past while sulking over NBA results. Unfortunately for his rivals, the NBA season is currently over and done with until October. I've literally thrown tennis matches if they've lost in like double overtime. He told the Tennis Channel after the third round win over Tsitsipas. If someone plays me and they know the Celtics have lost, that's your chance. That is for sure your chance to play me on that day. Unlucky for Steph, the NBA season is over. Nick's style is abrasive to some and incredibly likable to others. Some have described him as the most cretinous player of all of Wimbledon. Others have hailed the attention he brings to tennis. Nasty Nick, as some have coined, has a history of on-court meltdowns that have plagued him and teed up a reputation that often precedes his immense talent. In his first round match against Brit Paul Judd, the Aussie called one line judge a snitch with no fans for reporting his abuse and suggested another was in his 90s and can't see the ball. After winning the 5-set epic, he spat in the general direction of a spectator that had been heckling him. Outbursts spot mark his progress and always feel like they keep him close to the edge of explosion. He once threw a tantrum over not having a white towel at the 2019 Rogers Cup, chucked a chair onto the court while losing to Novak at the Italian Open in that same year, and threw a tennis racket in the direction of a ball boy at Indian Wells in March 2022. Kyrgios is viewed much like John McEnroe was in his heyday, a furious and scrupulous player that becomes alive by playing on the edge. There had never been a better chance presented to Kyrgios to win his maiden slam, and the route to getting there did not have to be conventional to the tennis community. Just ask him, Raider Carnew. His family and adoring fans will certainly be proud of what he managed to achieve. Radford College may need to make some more room on their Hall of Fame wall now, seeing that he is the new Wimbledon runner-up. Thanks for watching. Take care and see you again soon.